and that's your final answer?
Okay, so we're going to focus in this first segment on the presidential election by itself, and the most interesting part about it is that it is a dead heat. There's even discussion that they may end up with a tie. I didn't know that there was an even number of electoral votes out there, but in any event, we delayed our broadcast from yesterday to today in order to hopefully have some election results. On the presidential election at the present time, Biden is slightly ahead of Trump, but the states that they're showing leaning to Trump would put Trump ahead at the moment, but neither one of them is at 270, even with the lean. So what we have happening right now in America is vote counting. And to give you an idea how crazy this is, Pennsylvania is an important state to Donald Trump. And at the moment, he is 600,000 votes ahead, which is, boy, that's a pretty big number if you ask me. However, they are saying that there is as many as 1 million votes not counted from mail-in ballots. Now, the prognosticators are saying, or the so-called experts are saying, that the majority of the mail-in ballots will be in favor of Biden. I'm not so sure, because the older electorate, in Pennsylvania is a relatively older state, the older electorate, I think, has heavily gone for Trump because of the perception of protecting very simple things. Hey, protecting my retirement money by keeping the stock market up, protecting Medicare by not turning it into Medicare for all. So the older population, which now outnumbers, by the way, our younger population in the entire United States, the age switch from over 65 versus under 18 has happened. And we've touched on that a little bit in other Saving Americas. So Trump garnered some criticism, which is not unusual for Trump, because he did indicate that he thought he was winning last night. And that's really the way I saw it. That's really all he said. Hey, I am winning at the moment. And part of the reason he said that is because the scuttlebutt is that Florida was very likely to turn blue and Texas was becoming a swing state. And that neither one of those happened. In fact, rather bizarre statistic, as Florida is considered done, he won Florida by more votes this time than he did last time. And I think the reason for that, which is what's interesting if we all get in and study the weeds, is the Hispanic vote in America, which is an extremely important vote, is trending Republican. And I think it's trending Republican for several reasons. The Hispanic community is becoming more and more integrated into American life. And as they become more and more integrated, a lot of them have small businesses. A lot of them are Catholic and therefore opposed to abortion. And a lot of them have come from countries that have experimented with socialism. So it's an ignored demographic largely by the Democrats. The Democrats have taken both African-American and Hispanic votes for granted. And I think this election is a big slap in the face to say, don't do that. It's not going to work for you, because these people are not just automatically in your back pocket. And of course, people point to Florida and keep talking about the Cuban American vote, because of course there's a very strong Cuban American community in South Florida who are still upset about Castro's communist takeover of Cuba and the exiling of so many Cuban people into South Florida. But I don't think that that's really what we're seeing in that demographic. I think we're seeing a lot of older Americans. Again, Florida's one of the most populous states for retirees. And also, again, some of the younger Hispanic demographic going more strongly for Trump. So anyway, but that's what it looks like on the presidential front today. And I think we may end up in court in 2 or 3 of those races. So a lot depends on the next 3 or 4 days. We may not have even a preliminary decision before Friday is what I'm hearing. So we'll probably have to pick that up next Tuesday when we get back to our normal schedule.
Great thought. Great thought. So next week we'll have even more to report on this election.
Hopefully.
And hopefully we can announce who our next president is. So
that would be great.
David, thank you very much. Let me tell people again about your book, The Decline of America. It's a book that's bipartisan, and it takes the very same evaluation points and applies them to all the presidents from Woodrow Wilson to Barack Obama. Very interesting to see what some of the other, and honestly, it's comforting to me to realize, if living in today, you somehow start feeling like, what, we've lost our country, we've lost democracy, we've lost all this. But they had some other pretty serious events that took place through the years, and seeing how they handled them, how the president did, and seeing the grade he got, which normally was not that great, is very interesting reading, and it definitely helps you feel more secure about what's going on in our country today. So stay tuned for more information on how to get your copy. It is available on Amazon. And so we will be talking more about some opportunities to get it for 99 cents on the weekend after Thanksgiving. Thank you all for joining us today. Feel free to share the podcast with other people. If you're watching it right now with Facebook Live, then thank you for joining us. And please feel free to put comments. If you're watching it later on Facebook, or if you're watching it on one of the other podcast platforms, iTunes, and then iHeartRadio, some of the others, then we'd love to have you subscribe and make comments as well there. So thank you for joining us. And David, thank you again for your insight into this crazy world that we're living in today. And
thank you, Sandy.
We'll talk to you next week.
You bet. See you soon.